We could see some sort of 5-second buy model here, which I will scalp if given the opportunity. So essentially, this 5-second idea is I want some sort of retracement on the 5-second back into this breaker. And into this fair value gap. In line with this inversion. Now we could also sit on this 5-second chart, and as we come up into this 1-minute imbalance, notice we're buying below the 2 o'clock open. As we come up into this 1-minute imbalance, we can look for some sort of 5-second sell model. So say this is stage 1 of a 5-second buy model. And then we get a stage 2 in here, and then distribution into optimal trade entry inside this 1-minute fair value gap. Since I was looking to short in accordance with the bearish bias with 2 contracts, and this is counter trend from my bias, this will only be 1 contract. This trade is validated by the purge of these lows in here, and the fact that it's in discount. It'd be nice to see another quick pump up above this high, maybe into the 30s, and then a liquidity raid. My buy limit is now at the 1650 level, which is optimal trade entry. This is also my birthday, June 18th. So I want this imbalance to knock it back down into here. We're accumulating in front of this level, so we're preparing for some sort of manipulation leg below. And the fact that this imbalance is being sort of disrespected, or at least being, there's high resistance to move it down. The idea being, this is the high resistance liquidity run within this 5-second market maker buy model. The high resistance manipulation into optimal trade entry of this impulse leg. Looking for these symmetrical price swings.
Order filled.
And that was a losing trade. This is where it gets tempting to look at this as a possible short. I can kind of see this because I can put it within my risk parameters. What's that entry? 1425. So we're now expanding away from the sell side imbalance. Sorry, not the sell side imbalance. We're expanding away from the 2 o'clock open, looking for some sort of expansion hourly candle to the downside after trading up into this hourly SIBI here. And then we'd be targeting that same daily candle low.
Order filled.
So there's our fill. Immediately put in a profit. Let's drag our target down here. We do sort of have to fight this order block, or rejection block, and close inside this range. I'm very pleased to see this. So it's starting to look like that was the correct decision, especially when we consider that the symmetrical price move of this range is below our target of 265 ticks. That's a great free fall, and this is even potentially a reason to reduce the stop to about break even. That's a fast 80 ticks, very fast 80 ticks. I'm going to exercise faith and patience. The quick money thinking is just collapse it here. That's greed. That's also fear. We're in line with order flow. This hourly candle's attempting its downside expansion and its displacement of this low with an unfilled daily gap. The other thing we can consider is if we're not going to marry this daily target, one of the things we could consider is the 50% retracement. So this, according to the risk to reward model and the accuracy that I'm able to achieve, this is a comfortable target, and then maybe if there's some sort of retracement after hitting this projection, then I can look to re-engage in this gap. So we're not even requiring this target to be hit, and we're over a 3-to-1 risk to reward here. Now ideally, if we pop back up into this gap, I'd love to see weakness and consequent encroachment. In fact, I'll go down to the 5-second chart. Yeah, we have this 5-second fair value gap. I like that it's being filled in now so that when it pops back up into this 1-minute gap, it can reject and then create another sell model into this. I like this accumulation in front of the gap. This is a bull flag. Retail seeing this bull flag will see this bull flag breakout, and they'll likely get trapped. Like here, like here. I'll add one if it trades up into that little 5-second imbalance right in here, created by this candle.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
So we got to accumulate according to some 5-second models here, this 5-second optimal trade entry fair value gap here, dropping back down into this imbalance, which is already visited inside this 1-minute gap. So the concern is that we find support off this and make this some sort of 1-minute inversion, but the 1-minute chart never closed above it, it just filled it, traded into the order block, and now it's trading lower. So what we'll do is we'll be able to bag 2 contracts at this sell side liquidity here at 84.25, at the 84 level, where those sell stops reside. This trend line liquidity will likely be attacked, we'll get this displacement. Notice these bearish gaps are being respected. Our patience will likely pay off here. I'd like to see a fall through an expansion through this, just fast drops. I'd like to see further downside. I like the heaviness. I like this low being hit. And I like this high being purged and the hesitation to displace it. I just kind of poked above it and danced above it. Doesn't mean that this high is necessarily safe, because we can still come up into premium, back into this 1 minute, and get an optimal trade entry on the 5-second flush back down. But I do like seeing this further distribution in here. I'd like to see it fall out of bed. This imbalance here may be disrespected, which everything would still be fine. Because we've already took this external liquidity, we can still come and take the internal liquidity. I'd like and prefer to see this just dance lower and just crumble the people longing off of this. The 250 level should be psychological, especially breaking below 300. It'd be really nice to keep heavy around 300 and just bleed lower. Looking at any little bounces like this to be selling. Purge this internal range high here. I don't like that these fair value gaps are respecting. It'd be nice to see this high purged and then another flush lower. That's a nice rejection, but it was somewhat bought up, despite the fact that this is a wick. Really quick, I'm just going to make sure ES hasn't made a lower low. Good, because that means there could be further downside here, because there is an SMT forming. Half the position off at new low a day. I want to see more heaviness. I like that we were green and then we got swashed back down. The market's feeling gravity right now. I might even drag it down to the 80 level. Institutional level. I could take one off here. Experiencing lag, this is really annoying. Take one off at 84. Take one off at 80. Because the low here, the sell side liquidity rests at 84.25. So first one being off at 84 is a tick below
Order
where all the
filled.
stop orders would be. So there's one off. And we have a position of 3. Half will be off once we tag that 280 institutional level. Which could happen on the taking of this current, well, the past 1 minute candles low. If we're expanding through these candles, this candle's low is a target next. The rule is don't call the bottom, right? There is SMT here, which could be a red flag. Patience is a virtue.
Order filled.
Hey, that's pretty good. Gotta have faith that that 80 level is gonna hit. Just waiting for that 50% projection to hit now.
Order filled.
How clean. All risk has been removed from the trade. Paid in the shade. Just waiting for it to reach my target now.
Order filled.
I'm sure it's all random. Just filled with gratitude. That's all I have to say. Just filled with gratitude. Took the losing trade with one contract, reversed and went short, scaled into a big position with a tight stop here according to the 5-second chart, and based off of the 1-minute price action. Covered one on the verge of this low, retraced back up into the gap. I was able to get some more off there, down to the 80 level, and then we were able to ride it down to the 50, where we are displacing that low, and probably trying to get down into this, which it's allowed to do this today, but it doesn't need to. I don't need to hold for that. Until the next setup.